Welcome to daily discussion on current affairs. First topic is UN World Population Prospect Report. The article discusses the UN World Population Prospect Report, which predicts global population growth until the early 2080s with significant increases in sub-Saharan Africa. It highlights India's population dynamics, emphasizing the need for India to enhance workforce skill to capitalize on its demographic dividend before the population begin to age and decline, because by 2080 2050 population will stabilize and then will start to decline. At present India is at the peak of getting the demographic dividend because we have the most number of young population in our country. So what does the UN World Population Prospect Report say? Global population trend. According to the UN report, population growth, the global population is expected to continue increasing, reaching over 10 billion by the early 2080s. Regional variation. Significant growth will occur in sub-Saharan Africa countries like Somalia and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Despite their economic and political instability, we will see major population increases. Resource competition. These growing populations in resource-rich regions like the DRC could lead to geopolitical tension as countries vie for valuable natural resources. Then population dynamics in India and the neighboring Pakistan. India versus China. India will maintain a higher population than China for the foreseeable future. Right now, India is the most populous country in the world, and this turn India will continue. For some more time. Okay. In Pakistan growth, Pakistan population expected to continue growing, potentially surpassing the United States to stabilize at around 390 million. This will influence regional dynamics and India's foreign policy. Economic impact. The slowing growth of India's working age population will increase the dependency ratio, signaling potential challenges in sustaining economic growth. What should India focus on for the future growth? Skill development. Prioritizing the enhancement of workforce skill is critical for maximizing India's demographic dividend. Educational reform. Implementing diverse models of higher education, lifelong learning, apprenticeship and vocational training to address current skill gap. Employment quality. Shifting focus from merely creating jobs to improving job quality and matching skill to market needs. Utilizing the youth, and the dependency ratio is set to increase. Leveraging the potential for young workers before the population ages is crucial to achieve economic growth and avoid stagnation at the middle income level. Okay. The next topic is on how India and Russia have doubled their payment in national currency despite Western sanctions. In the Ukraine war, Russia has been imposed economic sanction and military sanction by the global community. The economic sanction on Russia has affected a lot, but in this period, India and Russia are continuing their trading. Especially India is importing huge amount of petroleum oil, crude petroleum from Russia, and the payment is being made in the respective currency. The article discusses how India and Russia have doubled their payment in national currency despite Western sanctions. Report deposits by Indian company in Russia have increased significantly. Economists believe that India's trade with Russia could grow further following Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to Moscow. Because recently PM Modi visited Moscow, the capital of Russia, and this has been projected that the relationship, the bilateral trade relation, will further get boosted by this recent visit. But the current state of India and Russia trade payment, increase in payment, India and Russia have doubled their trade payment in national currencies, rupee and ruble, despite Western sanction. Then Saber Bank's role. Saber Bank, Russia's largest bank, reports a doubling in payment volume and an 80% increase in transaction from January to June 24 compared to the same period in 2023. Rupee deposits, there has been a six-fold increase in corporate rupee deposit in Russia in 2024. But the challenges and opportunity for India and Russia: challenges, competition with China. Chinese business have taken advantage of the sanctions to dominate the Russian market. China has bilateral trade with Russia worth 240 billion, significantly higher than India's trade volume. Currency competition, India's business are sometimes forced to consider using the Chinese yuan, which indicates a challenge in promoting the rupee exclusively. Increase in rupee usage, the six-fold increase in the corporate rupee deposit in Russia since the start of 2024 shows growing trust in the Indian currency. Then Prime Minister's visit impact. Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to Moscow is described as crucial for advancing to a new level of economic cooperation. Market vacuum. The exit of Western companies from Russia creates opportunity for Indian products to fill the market gaps. What impact did Prime Minister Modi's visit to Moscow have? Strengthened economic ties. The visit marked a new level of economic cooperation between India and Russia. Future trade goals. Both leaders set a trade target of $100 billion by 2030, emphasizing the potential growth in the bilateral trade. Sectoral focus. Key sectors for increased Indian exports include auto and aviation components, chemicals, microelectronics and consumer electronics between the two sides. And the next topic is about the India and Nepal relation. The reason behind the strain in the relation. The article discusses the strained relationship between India and Nepal, worsened by political and diplomatic tension since 2015. It suggests opportunity. Okay, it suggests opportunities for improvement with the leadership of Narendra Modi and that Kangda Prasad Oli, KP Oli, focusing on mutual respect and non-interference for a stable partnership between the two sides. What led to strain between India and Nepal? Constitutional dispute in 2015. Tensions escalated when Nepal adopted a new constitution without amendment. With the amendment, India suggested, leading to significant political discord between the two countries. Because prior to that, India and Nepal very closely linked with each other, and as Nepal has amended the constitution without accepting the recommendations made by India, it infuriated India and the relation was started to be affected. Economic blockade. India imposed a nearly 6-month-long economic blockade on Nepal, severely impacting Nepal's economy and increasing resentment towards India. Because the Tarai region, the area connected between India and Nepal, the Tarai region where the Madhesis are in majority. So India through the Madhesis was able to successfully impose a blockade, economic blockade. A shift towards China. In response to the blockade, Nepal's the then Prime Minister KP Oli signed 10 significant agreement with China, diversifying Nepal's economic and strategic alliance away from India. Political statement. Relationship faced further tension when Oli suggested that the historical city of Ajodhya was located within Nepal and criticized India's national motto, proposing a change to reflect a more assertive stand. In the territorial dispute, the relationship further deteriorated after India published a political map in 2019 that included territories claimed by Nepal, promoting Nepal to amend its constitution to include this area in its own map. What is the economic and social impact? Dependency and remittances. Nepal is the 7th largest remittance sending country to India, significantly supporting livelihoods in India's economically weaker states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Odisha. Trade diversification. Following the blockade, Nepal signed 10 agreements with China, expanding trade and transit options, reducing dependence on India. Hydropower agreements. Recent power trade agreement favor India, limiting Nepal's ability to export electricity generated with Chinese investment, impacting Nepal's energy sector. Okay, so the power agreement was in favor of India. Political instability, the imposition of India's preference in Nepali politics, as seen with leaders like the Pushpakamal Dal, the Maoist head, has led to political compliance at the cost of addressing key bilateral issues affecting Nepal's political autonomy and social dynamics. Hindutva influence, the presence of Hindutva advocates supported by India in Nepal's plain and he has stirred social tension affecting Nepal's cultural and political landscape because it was a manifestation of Indian hegemony. What should be done? Respect for sovereignty. Both nations should commit to non-interference in each other's internal affairs, aligning with the principles of the Panchashila doctrine. The policy corrections, India should revise its policies under the Modi's Neighborhood First initiative. Okay, emphasizing mutual respect and economic cooperation rather than dominance. Release of the EPG report, implementation of the recommendation of the India Nepal Eminent Persons Group report or EPG report could help establish a transparent and equal partnership between the two. Dialogue on bilateral issue, engage in constructive dialogue to address and resolve standing issues such as territorial disputes involving the Limpu Dura Kalapani area and economic agreement between India and Nepal. Reviving regional cooperation. Okay, the relationship dynamics should move away from perception of New Delhi being imperious and Kathmandu being subservient. Kathmandu needs to assert its voice more confidently, while New Delhi must reflect on and amend its approaches that have led to Nepali dissatisfaction. Cordiality versus skepticism. Despite the default friendly disposition of Nepal towards India, New Delhi remains skeptical on Nepal's intention and alignment, particularly regarding Nepal's interaction with other countries like China. India must address its skepticism towards Nepal's intention. Okay, so that can improve the situation to some extent as has been projected by the policymakers. The next topic is a Supreme Court verdict on citizenship case. The Supreme Court has declared the Muhammad Rahim Ali Okay, Supreme Court has declared Muhammad Rahim Ali an Assam resident a citizen of India, overturning a foreigner's tribunal's decision. It has clarified the law of foreign nationality, allegation, and the individual's burden of proof. In 2004, a case was filed against Ali for not providing citizenship documents. The foreigners tribunal first declared him a foreigner without his presence. A decision the High Court upheld. The Supreme Court then ordered the that foreigners tribunals to re-examine the document, but the foreigners tribunal again ruled only a foreigner, stating that he had entered illegally after 25th March 1971. At the clarification given the Supreme Court in instant judgment, burden of proof, Section 9 of the Foreigners Act 1946 places the burden of proof on the person accused of being a foreigner. However, the Supreme Court questioned whether this allows the authority to randomly suspect someone without evidence and rely solely on selection. Then the state responsibility, the Supreme Court clarified that when the burden of proof is on the accused, the state must first provide evidence for the allegation that he is a foreigner. Without sufficient material from the state, initiating such serious proceeding is unjust. Minor spelling variation, the court noted that minor spelling variations in names should not lead to dire consequences, highlighting that such errors are common in electoral rolls. Proof standards in court case, the court cited the 5-judge ruling in Mukesh Singh versus State in 2020, emphasizing that even with a reverse burden of proof, the prosecution must first fulfill its initial obligation. In Noor Aga versus State of Punjab, it was established that the prosecution must prove the basic facts, and more serious offences require a higher standard of proof. What are the foreign tribunals? Tribunals under the colonial law. These were created under the Foreigners Act, a colonial law established before the Indian Constitution to address issues related to foreigners. They were set off in 1964 by an executive order from the Home Ministry. Definition of foreigners under Section 2A of the 1946 Act, a foreigner is defined as anyone who is not a citizen of India. This applies only to those with strong evidence of foreign status, such as being caught entering India or holding foreign passport. Okay, so under section 2A of the 1940 Act, a foreigner is defined as anyone who is not a citizen of India. This applies only to those with strong evidence of foreign status, such as being caught entering India or holding a foreign passport. But the issue with foreign tribunals, legitimacy of tribunal establishment, they are not established under the Article 323B of the Constitution, which allow tribunals to be created by law through the appropriate legislation. Inadequate investigation. About 3 lakh people in Assam were labeled as doubtful voter in 1997 and later by low level officials without an investigation or notice. They are excluded from the Assam NRC and now face challenges in foreigners tribunal. Lack of transparency in acquisition. Paragraph 3(1) of the Foreigners Tribunal Order 1964 requires that notices state the main ground for acquisition. However, Foreigners Tribunal often do not provide this information, leaving individuals to defend themselves without knowing the charges. What are the implications of the recent Supreme Court judgment? The judgment will ease the worries of those concerned about minor spelling errors or date discrepancy in their names and their parents' name due to Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 and proposed national Okay, by March 2019, 1.17 lakh people have been declared foreigners, including 63,959 ex parte cases. Means so one side case. The judgment may positively impact thousands of pending cases with the foreigners tribunal. So, ex parte case, it refers to legal proceedings or decisions made by a court in the absence of one party. When one party is absent, this means that only one side, unusually the plaintiff, is present or has submitted information leading to decisions without hearing from the other side. So, that is the one side case. Then rules and regulations governing civil service in India. The center set up single member committee under Department of Personnel and Training DOPT to review all documents submitted by probationary IAS officer Pooja Ketkar regarding her civil service candidacy. She was alerted IAS under other backward class and physically handicapped quota. What are the rules governing civil servants in India? All India Service Conduct Rule 1968. Scope and applicability. These rules apply to IAS, IPS and Indian Forest Service officers from the moment they are assigned the service and start training. Key provisions. Rule 3(1) it requires complete integrity and dedication to duty while prohibiting actions that are inappropriate for a civil service member. Rules 4(1) it prohibits officers from using their position to secure jobs for family members in private companies or NGOs and clearly defines what constitutes unbecoming behavior. In 2014 editions, it emphasized high ethical standards, integrity and honesty while promoting political neutrality, accountability and transparency. It encourages responsiveness to the public, especially vulnerable group, and mandates courtesy and good behavior towards the public. Rule 11(1) officers may accept gift from close relatives or friends with no official ties during events like weddings, anniversaries, funerals and religious functions. However, gift value over 25,000 must be reported to the government, a threshold update in 2015. Decision making guidelines. Decision must be made solely in the public interest and officers must declare any private interest related to their duties. They are prohibited from placing themselves under the financial obligations and must not misuse their position for personal or family benefit. And then Indian Administrative Service Probation Rules 1954. Applicability governs officers during their probation period, which lasts at least 2 years after selection and includes training at Lavasana in Missouri, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy. Key provisions. Entitlements during probation, officers receive fixed salary and travel allowances but do not have the same benefit as confirmed to IAS officers, such as official car, accommodation at office with staff or constable. So rules 12, discharge of probationers. This includes the central government finding the probationer ineligible for recruitment, unsuitable for service, neglecting probationary duties, or lacking the necessary qualities or mind and character. Enquiry process: the center conducts a summary enquiry before issuing discharge order, and the committee submits its report within 2 weeks. Okay. According to the 1993 DOPT circular, government servant who provides false information or certificates should not remain in service. This rule applies to both probationers who are discharged and confirmed officers who are dismissed. However, dismissals can be challenged in court, the Central Administrative Tribunal, and the National OBC Commission, leading to lengthy legal battles during which the officer may remain in service. Okay. So that is the issue which has emerged in this particular case, and it being discussed in a very hot way, and a committee has been appointed to review it. Then macroeconomic difference between India and China. The article discusses Chinese growth driven by export and state investment, leading to issues like ghost cities and overcapacity in sectors like electric vehicles. In contrast, India has lower domestic savings and investment but better GDP returns. It highlights India's need to boost infrastructure and human capital. Investment to sustain the growth momentum that the country has started achieving right now. What fueled Chinese growth? Export and capital spending. China rapid growth was powered by a consistent 8% net export surplus, amassing significant foreign exchange reserve that made the economy stronger. Domestic investment, high domestic saving rate, fueled investment, infrastructure and industry expansion. State-owned enterprises, profits from these enterprises provided fiscal benefit in invest in physical capital, leading to a high investment to GDP ratio in the country. Then challenges with efficiency. Despite high investment, there are criticisms of inefficiency such as construction of ghost cities and overcapacity in the electric vehicle sector, indicating not all investment yield high return in the country. What are the main macroeconomic differences between India and China? Trade balance. India consistently faces a trade deficit, relying on foreign capital inflow to or above 2 to 3% of GDP, contrasting China's historical 8% export surplus. When India has a deficit, India has a surplus. Investment source. Chinese investment are largely fueled by state-owned enterprises and high domestic saving. In contrast, India's investment relies more on foreign capital, FII and FDI, and low domestic savings in the country. Government spending. A significant portion of the India saving is consumed by government expenses like pensions and salaries, which differ from Chinese investment of state-owned enterprises profit into their physical capital deployment. Private sector role. Unlike China, India's industrial expansion is more dependent on the private sector with limited state-owned enterprise influence. But should India focus on for growth? Increasing infrastructure, Okay, expanding and manufacturing sector through private investment facilitated by politics that improve the ease of doing business, innovating in area like agro-based industry, green technology and digital services, significantly enhancing investment in education to build human capital, crucial for future job demands and economic growth. Assam geography and flood management. The article discusses how Assam geography, historical events and human action interacts in flood management. It highlights that while flood control measures like embankment were intended to help, they have caused unintended long-term effect on the region's ecology and communities. Assam geography is shaped by several factors, including the eastern Himalaya, fragile geology, forced, forested landscape, the southwest monsoon, the Bay of Bengal's turbulence, that the braided rivers, rich biodiversity and sediment from the Himalayas. These features contribute to the state's annual floods. Flooding is frequent in Assam, but since 1950, earthquake magnitudes 8.6, the severity and effects of floods have intensified. This led to more severe flood pattern from 1952 onward. How has Assam population coped with the floods? Since 1950, Assam has asked the government of India for assistance in building embankment to manage floods. These embankments are intended to prevent river flooding and protect the crops, property and livestock while keeping fields adequately moist. What are the initial response to the embankment? Okay. Response were mixed. Many were concerned about declining environmental health as paddy fields needed more artificial fertilizer due to reduced nutrient from the flood waters, because floodwater inundation earlier led to make the field means rich. But as the flood started, it is not the situation, it became reversed. So more and more manure need to be added because the silt in the flood enrich the fertility of the soil. Response were mixed, so other felt relieved, believing the embankment were protecting the crops, property and livestock. What are the issue with the construction of the embankment? Concern raised by the Gar Committee. 1951, it stated that a river's main function are land building and drainage. The embankment could be useful if river were stable and carried little silt. However, river has a lot of silt. This is true in case of Brahmaputra. Uh, Embankment could cause more harm than good and disrupt the natural land building and drainage process. So, impact of embankment Assam's river dynamics. Embankment significantly alter the relationship between river and the Assam's resident, disrupting the natural balance, harm the land's health. As floodplain became drier, people settled closer to the river. This has increased the risk to their lives and their property. National Flood Commission 76 to 80, it raised concern that coarse silt and sand has elevated river beds above the surrounding land. This has increased the risk of flooding if the embankment is filled. So new embankment construction has declined, but old institutions and mindsets still pursue flood control in the Brahmaputra basin. Assam is still facing the consequences of the neglecting the region's complex river history in the flood management. increase in its foreign currency asset. The return on India's foreign currency asset has doubled over the past 2 years. As of March 31st, 2024, the total value of security in the foreign currency account was $468.98 billion. What is the interest rate impact? In 2019-20 it was 2.65%. In 2020-21 2.10%, and 2023-24 it is 4.21% return we are getting on interest. Due to rising interest rate in the US and other developed countries, the return on the FCA increased to 4.21% in March 24 from 2.11% in March 2022. This resulted in the RBI earning over 19 billion in interest income for the fiscal year ending in March 2024. The rate of return of the foreign currency asset was 3.73% in 2023, 2.10% in 2021, and 2.65% in the 2020. Gold reserve of India during 2024, the RBI reduced gold held abroad by around 50 tons, bringing the total to 387.26 metric tons. RBI reduced its gold holding due to high cost of keeping gold abroad. As of March 24, RBI held 822 metric tons of gold, with 408.31 metric tons held domestically and 26 metric tons as gold deposits abroad. What is the foreign currency account? India's foreign currency exchange reserve comprises foreign currency asset, gold, SDR, and the SDR means special drawing rights with the World Bank, with the IMF, and the Reserve Bank position with International Monetary Fund. Foreign currency asset includes investment in US Treasury bonds, Treasury bill, and other selected government deposits with foreign central banks, foreign commercial bank, etc. Composition of the foreign currency asset as of March 2024. Out of the total FCA of 570.95 billion, 468.99 billion are invested in securities, 62.17 billion are deposited with other central banks and the Bank of Settlement (BIS) in Basel. So 39.79 billion comprise deposits with the commercial bank overseas. A small portion of the reserve is managed by external asset managers to exploit new strategy and diversify the portfolio. These investments are governed by the RBI Act 1934. RBI updated rules on fraud risk management. The Reserve Bank of India has updated its rules on fraud risk management for various financial entities. RBI revised fraud risk management rules. The revised rules apply to commercial banks, including regional rural banks, RRB, all India financial institutions, urban, state and central cooperative banks, non-banking financial companies and housing finance companies. The RBI issued 3 new master directions to replace the older one. These directions are based on thorough review of the previous rules and current issues. The new rules emphasize principles and guidelines to strengthen fraud risk management and enhance the role of the board in governance and oversight. Related entities must follow principles of natural justice before labeling individuals or entity as fraudulent, in line with the Supreme Court's March 2023 judgment in the case of State Bank of India versus Rajesh Agarwal. The RBI has withdrawn 36 existing circulars related to fraud risk management to simplify the rules and reduce the compliance burden on financial entities. The EEG and its significance. This year marked the 100th anniversary of the first human electroencephalogram or EEG, created by German physiologist Hans Borger. EEG measures the electrical activity in the brain generated by neurons. Researchers use the EEG in fields like neuroscience, cognitive psychology, and neurolinguistics. EEG stands for electroencephalography, or electropotence to electricity, encephalo to the brain, and graphy to the representation. EEG is commonly used to diagnose epilepsy and monitor anesthesia effects, sleep pattern, coma activity, and the brain death. Working of the EEG, neurons in the brain move electrically charged particles, creating electrical activity. EEG tests visuals this activity and help distinguish between normal and abnormal brain states. Advanced EEG setup are simple and cost effective. The equipment is small, does not emit radiation or noise, and is non-invasive and portable. Disadvantage: setting up an EEG test takes time, and this process includes applying gel and placing electrodes Thicker hair can affect the EEG readings. EEG is good at tracking rapid electrical activity in the brain, but it biases towards signals near the brain surface. It may not accurately pinpoint the origin of the electrical activity within the brain. To overcome limitations, EEG is often used with other tests like MRI and advanced data processing methods, the new technology. Then coal ministry signed agreement of 3 coal mines. Recently, the Minister of Coal has signed agreements for 3 coal mines under the second attempt of the 7th round of auction. Coal ministry signed agreement for 3 coal mines. The Minister of Coal has signed agreement for 3 coal mines. The second attempt of the 7th round auction. Importance: this event marks a significant achievement in the commercial coal mining sector in India. Mines involve the Machkata revised coal mines, the Kudalani Lubri coal mines, and the Sakhigopal B Kurai coal mines. All these coal mines are located in Odisha. So financial impact: the estimated annual revenue generation from these 3 mines is approximately 2,901.20 crores. This estimation is based on the production at the aggregated peak rate capacity of around 30 million tons per annum. Employment and investment: once operational, these mines are projected to create approximately 40,560 direct and indirect jobs. Additionally, total investment around 4,500 crores will be allocated to bring these coal mines into operation. Significance for India: this initiative presents a significant step towards achieving Atmanirbharta in the coal sector. It contributes to economic growth, generates employment opportunity, and ensures the energy security of the nation. Then the next topic is on the Bagmati River. Recently, a flood situation has emerged in Bihar's Muzaffarpur area due to the rising water level in the Bagmati River. About the Bagmati River, okay, so river Ganga is distributed in Bihar. Okay, so this Ganga and its tributary, the main river, Gagra, Gandak, that Buri Gandak, Bagmati. This is the Bagmati River. Fine, which contribute to the Ganga. About Bagmati River, the Bagmati River flows through the south central Nepal and north Bihar states of India. The river originates from the Bagdwar area in the Shivpur Hills located in the northeastern parts of Kathmandu Valley, Nepal. Okay, the river flow from the Kathmandu Valley flow and passes through the valley at the Chobar. It flows southward through the Sivalik range and southernmost range of the Himalayas. The river continue across the plain of the Tarai into Bihar. If it then flows southwestward to join the Buri Gandak River. Total course of the river is 225 miles. The Bagmati River basin transacts 3 distinct latitudinal physiographic zone in the Nepal Himalaya, mountain zone, swelling zone, and the Tarai zone. Religious significance: the river is considered holy to both Hindu and Buddhist. The banks of the Bagmati River are home to various temples, including the Pashupatinath Temple, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Coming to the the question is discuss the interrelationship between culture and economy. How does the synergy continue to sustain economic progress? The interplay between culture and economy is crucial for societal development and sustainable economic growth. Culture, encompassing community values, traditions, and artistic expressions, interacts dynamically with economic activity involving production, distribution, and consumption. This relationship fosters mutual enrichment where cultural assets bolster economic vitality and economic prosperity, support the flourishing of diverse cultural expression and heritage as seen in global tourism hubs like Paris and Rome. Interrelationship in culture and economy. Tourism attraction, cultural heritage sites and traditions attract tourists, significantly boosting local economy by increasing spending on accommodation, food and souvenirs. For example, the Eiffel Tower in Paris draws millions of visitors annually, generating substantial revenue for the local business and the services. Cultural industry sector like music, film and fashion generate substantial economic activity, creating numerous jobs and attracting significant investment. For example, Hollywood's film industry contributes billions of dollars to the US economy, supporting a wide range of ancillary business. Okay, so urban development, cultural investment lead to urban regeneration and increased property values, transforming neighborhood into vibrant, economically prosperous regions. The revitalization of downtown Detroit through art and cultural projects have supported local economic growth and community engagement. Job creation, cultural sector creates employment opportunity across various skill level from artisans and performers to marketers and managers. For example, the global fashion industry employs millions of people worldwide, from designers and tailors to retail workers and the fashion models. Innovation and creativity. A culturally diverse workforce fosters innovation and problem solving by bringing varied perspectives and experiences to the table. For example, the Silicon Valley success is partly due to its diverse and creative workforce, which drives technological innovation and business success. Cultural branding. Countries and cities use culture to enhance their global image and attract investment, thereby boosting their economic prospects. For example, Japan's cultural exports like the anime have significantly boosted its international influence and economic growth. Cultural diplomacy. International cultural exchanges enhance soft power and economic ties, promoting mutual understanding and cooperation between the nations. For example, China's Confucius Institute promote cultural understanding and strengthen economic relations globally through educational and cultural programs. Contribution to sustainable economic progress. Diversified income source. Cultural tourism and industry provide alternative income streams, reducing reliance on traditional sectors and enhancing economic stability. For example, Bali's economy thrives on cultural tourism, which supports local business alongside traditional agricultural practices. Resilient economies. Cultural diversity helps economy adapt to global chance and crisis by fostering flexible and innovative approaches. Sustainable urban growth. Cultural investment lead to sustainable urban development, fostering social cohesion and vibrant community life. For example, the Barcelona's cultural festivals contribute to social cohesion and urban vibrancy, attracting tourists and supporting local business. Human capital development. Cultural education fosters skill crucial for a modern economy, such as critical thinking and creativity, enhancing workforce adaptability. For example, Finland's education system integrates cultural studies, which enhances students' innovative capabilities and prepares them for diverse career. Global market access, cultural exchanges open new market for goods and services, promoting international trade and economic partnership. For example, the global popularity of the K-pop has significantly boosted. Okay, so economic inclusivity, cultural industry often provide opportunity for marginalized groups, promoting inclusive growth and reducing economic disparities. Handicraft industry in India empower rural women, providing them with income generating opportunities and supporting local economies. Environmental sustainability, many cultural practices emphasize sustainability, promoting eco-friendly economic activity and conservation efforts. The synergy between culture and economy fosters sustainable growth, innovation, and resilience. By recognizing and harnessing this interrelationship, policymakers, business, and community can achieve comprehensive development. As we have forward, as we move forward, integrating cultural asset into economic planning will be crucial for building inclusive, dynamic, and sustainable economies. Then come to the MCQ, consider the following statement. MPS is the practice at which government buy, or the MSP, minimum support price, is the practice at which government buys crop from farmers regardless of the market price.